My name is Mandy Pryor, and welcome to the Southwestern PA Business Podcast through Southwest Regional Chamber of Commerce. We are here with Ryan today, who's going to talk a little bit about firefighters sales and service, how you can protect your business, and give some tips on what you can do to stay safe.
Yep.
Hi, Ryan. How are you?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
I'm good. Thanks so much for coming on today. He's a first-timer here. We got a first-timer. He's going to talk about his business. So let's start. Tell me a little bit about you and what you do.
So I've been with firefighter sales and service. It will be about 5 years this upcoming November. And so I started off there, actually there in the middle of COVID, which was kind of a different training process. Everything was a little weird. But no, I started off there doing outside sales. Then in November of 2022, my boss asked me if I wanted to try and drum up new business. So I've been doing business development for them ever since.
Wow. So a little bit about what you guys do. Tell me a little bit about your services.
Yeah, we offer anything from fire extinguisher installation and repairs to and inspections to fire alarm panels. We can install, inspect, and replace them, along with sprinkler systems. The nice thing about us is we're a union shop, so we can even do installations and repairs on sprinkler systems too.
That's
which
nice.
Is nice. Then emergency lights, we can install, inspect, do all three again. Then kitchen hood suppression system, so anything fire or life safety related we handle.
Great. And so I know that the Chamber of Commerce, we just got our fire extinguishers checked and updated. You are supposed to get them done every year?
Yep.
Every year should be inspected, right?
Yeah, once a year has to be done by an outside company, but you can inspect them yourselves monthly if you wanted to.
What's the process for that? How do you inspect? I know I'm going off topic here a little bit.
For monthly?
Yeah. What would you tell a business owner out there to do to inspect their fire extinguisher?
I would tell them to make sure that the arrow is pointing in the green on it, so make sure that it is still full. You can take a flashlight, look down the nozzle, make sure it's not clogged. And then also once or every 6 months, you can always just take them and flip them over to make sure none of the chemical and element clumps up. Just a couple of housekeeping
things you learn. The things you learn. All right, so let's get into things. What is Fire Safety 101?
Yeah, so for any commercial business, the most common thing is to have a ABC fire extinguisher. It's the most common one and the one that's probably used the most across the country.
And so, you can obviously use your services to obtain one of these?
Yes. Yeah, you can call us, or you can even show up at our warehouse and purchase one yourself if you want. It's entirely up to you. We normally keep a bunch of the 5 and 10 pound ABC fire extinguishers in stock. So, yeah, you can drive right on up, talk to the person working the front desk in the warehouse, and every one you buy from us will come with an inspection tag on it, so it'll already be good for your yearly inspection.
Yeah, and this is especially important to our small business owners who have brick and mortars, our larger facilities, I can imagine the sporting facilities definitely need those in place everywhere, hospitals. What other types of businesses do you assist the most?
The most would definitely be either any type of commercial business, so your small mom and pop shop still at least have to have a fire extinguisher, to anything as large as a school district, college, hotel chain, anything like that.
They need to have everything up and running, right?
Yeah,
especially if they're doing fire drills and at the schools. I mean, that was always such a big fun day for the kids. We get to leave the school and go do a fire extinguisher and stand in the parking lot. Right.
Those ones are probably the ones that are probably the most in-depth, those in daycares.
Yeah.
Because if you were to walk into any place that supervises children, more often than not, they have to have a fire alarm panel put in, but they also have to have a smoke detector in every room, and it's just a lot more in depth, just because they have to have the proper fire protection in every single room in that building.
Wow. Yeah, and I know a lot, like the chamber, one day we were like, when do we need these inspected kind of thing? And that's why I say it's important for our small, mid-sized businesses, because if you're running your own business, you don't really have a designated person to be there for the safety of your business. You're kind of going through the day-to-day, and then, you're like, oh, it's good. We've never used it. And I think that's a lot of people's think,
Oh, yeah.
we've never used it. It should be good, right?
Right. It's one of those things that are out of sight, out of mind until either somebody comes in to do an inspection for your business, or if you actually needed to use it in the event of an emergency.
Yeah. So how do fire protection systems work?
For fire alarm panels, most of the time they will have a smoke detector. So if there's smoke building up in a room, the detector is most likely in the ceiling. And when the smoke hits it, it will register to the panel and say, hey, there's an issue going on in such and such room.
Yeah.
And then if it's going off, it then would ring to whoever does the monitoring for that fire alarm panel. And they reach out to whether to send the fire department, if nobody were to answer, just to play it safe.
Yeah. Absolutely. Because, that's important. You have to have a list of things to do should something go wrong, and you should have, some different people in charge of who does what. And I think that's also something that people just ignore. They get their fire extinguisher, they're trying to pass code when they're opening their building, and then you're like, wait, but who's in charge should something go wrong?
Right.
Right. So what about risks? How can an office building protect themselves should there be an emergency?
Right.
And what are the biggest risks that you've seen?
The biggest one could probably be if somebody has like a little kitchenette and they have a coffee maker that doesn't shut off after such and such hours, or if nobody unplugs it, it could actually
Starts to burn.
It could build up smoke, and then you should always have a fire extinguisher in that particular area or within arm's reach.
Wow. You
Yeah.
never even think of that.
No, it's just little things.
The good thing is a lot of us have Keurigs these days,
Right.
which immediately shut themselves off. But if you don't, it might be a good, very inexpensive investment for you to go out and buy a coffee that automatically shuts off after 2 hours, a coffee pot.
Right, or if you happen to share an office space with somebody else that would happen to be a restaurant and you're in the strip mall,
Yeah.
the fire could end up going all the way down. So a lot of those places will have a sprinkler system that will run across the entire plaza to help
That's nice.
extinguish any certain problem.
Well, and we can talk about, the Rileys over in Carnegie and how lucky the neighboring businesses were. We were all watching going,
Yeah.
what if it goes? They're all connected in a row, and who knows who has all of the different things in place to stop it should it start spreading from building to building to building. So, that's definitely of concern too.
Oh, definitely. And I actually live in Carnegie, so when I saw the fire going off, I had a coworker of mine call me who works for one of the 911 centers.
Wow.
And gave me the heads up about it.
Well, what about other risks? What have you seen that have really, is something people should look out for in an office setting?
Yeah, I would say definitely. Look to see if you have pull stations near the door, because in the event of a fire in the office building, there has to be a pull station by any door leading outside or leading down the stairwell.
What's a pull station?
It's a little box that's right by the door, so you pull the lever down, and it will set off and go to the panel, letting them know that there's a problem on that particular floor or wing.
What if you don't have one of those?
Then it could be because your building's grandfathered in. If buildings are past a certain age in particular areas, they could be grandfathered into some regulations, so they may not need one.
Yeah.
So the one thing you can always do before you were to purchase a building, you can always call, when you find out the age of it, call your local municipality and just say, hey, I just want to know if I'm grandfathered into anything. I was thinking about buying a building.
So even if you go and you purchase another building, you could still be grandfathered in because of the time the building was built.
Correct. But if you were to undergo any renovations or anything, whatever you're grandfathered into, there's a good chance it could get thrown right out the window, and you would have to be up to the current codes. Yeah.
That's interesting.
So it never hurts to make a phone call before you undergo any renovations, just so you know what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah, I can imagine that the new buildings versus the old buildings are probably a lot safer in their construction because they go through more rigorous testing.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, we have the chambers in an old building, so that's why it's of utmost importance. Luckily, we have a Keurig and a microwave, no stoves or anything, or, I'm trying to think of other things that could happen. It could be anything, though.
It really could be anything.
It could be electrical, it could be...
Exactly, it could be an electrical issue, or if it even, if it gets too cold outside and you don't have the heat gets shut off in the building for whatever reason because of a power outage or whatever, it could get cold enough where the sprinkler heads could burst too, so some of the rooms could start filling up with water, which could be a serious problem.
A serious problem.
Yeah.
And so what types of facilities have you guys worked on in the past?
We've worked on, we do a lot of work at hospitals, would be a big one, or any industrial park, like some of the old steel mills where where it gets built up with heat, so systems go off all the time. So we're always out there doing some sort of repair work or inspections would be a big one. Restaurants, commercial kitchens, just because they have a suppression system in the kitchen if there happens to be an open flame.
Yeah.
Those have to be inspected twice a year, so we'll actually go out.
I was going to ask how often you have to inspect those.
It's twice a year.
Twice a year.
And then in those kitchens, you also have to have a Class K fire extinguisher just for the kitchen, and then have a regular ABC, so we'll inspect those as well.
Yeah. As a former server, I tried to stay out of the kitchen as much as possible because, all the flames and the craziness back there.
Oh, yeah.
Anything can happen. I mean, a French fry could drop into the wrong location. You just never know.
Exactly.
And things are so rushed. I mean, I was just talking about how crazy busy the chefs are, and everybody's yelling in the back. And you're
yeah.
You're like, I'm going to go back out here. And you're like, hi. Everything's fine. Your order's going to be right out,
Right, exactly. And normally, if we were to go out and do the inspection or to provide a quote, we'll go out and ask whatever the best time is so we don't end up in anyone's way.
Yeah.
And then what a lot of people don't know is if you were to go out, have your inspection, everything passes, but you add a new stove or a fryer for French fries or whatever, you have to go out and get it inspected again because you have to make sure everything's lined up properly.
Yeah, so there's a lot more to restaurants than most commercial buildings.
Right.
Any other high-risk buildings?
Data centers, so or big IT server rooms for a law firm or a security office.
Yeah.
We do, we'll go out, those need to have specialty suppression systems in those rooms.
Because they get so hot.
Right, and then also you use what's called an FM200 system, so it also helps protect the equipment. So if you're spending millions of dollars for server rooms or whatever happens to be in there, or an evidence room in a police station, for example, it's best to try and protect that as well as put out the fire.
Yeah. I mean, even sitting in here, if you guys have ever been in a podcast room or a newsroom, lots of electricity flowing through the room, lots of wiring, lots of lights and cameras. That'd be huge. That's why the temperature is like an ice box right now. If you don't know, it's freezing in here because that helps keep everything cooler and all the electronics cooler, so it prevents a fire. Good example.
Oh, yeah.
Did you plan this?
No, I did not.
No.
And then the one thing with those systems, too, they also have to have their own fire alarm panel, so they're basically on their own thing.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So they have their own system to go through instead of just... And
Right.
then the building itself has their own.
Will have its own system as well.
So what about security? You touch on that a little?
Oh, yeah, we also do security systems. So the one thing, the nice thing about us is we have an office down in Morgantown, West Virginia, that was actually founded as a security company and then moved into commercial fire. And they also do a lot of residential security. So that's one of the few things, residential services that our company provides too. So we can go out and provide security systems for your homes.
Well, that's so for homes too.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And what what entails your security systems?
Yeah, for homes, it could be anything from like wall sensors to a motion detector. If you wanted to put cameras outside your home, a lot of people are doing that now.
Yeah,
and we also have been getting a lot of those Ring doorbells too. A lot of people have been asking.
We might need to
this.
follow up. I ordered what was that company? It wasn't a Ring. It was a different one from Amazon. And it hasn't come yet. We don't know where it is.
Okay, yeah, well, I can introduce. Scott is actually the original founder of Morgantown Security and Fire.
Okay.
So he comes up here once a week for a weekly management meeting. So we actually done one for a friend of mine over in Birdland.
Yeah, I mean, as long as the price, obviously nonprofit, we have to stay on our budget. But we think that's important. We had the Comcast cameras inside for a long time, and we just got rid of those. So now we're trying to do something on the outside because we've had some disturbances out in the public. Nothing serious, but just we want to keep an eye on it. So that, and then I know that I have my motion sensors in my house, so that when I open and close doors, I have 2 little kids, and it dings every time they touch a door. So I know kind of where they are in the house, especially because my 9-year-old he's allowed to just go outside, but the 5-year-old, I don't let him outside on his own. So I'm like, wait, which door is that opening? Who's going where? So it's very helpful to have those, just knowing, it gives you a sense of security, especially in the night, also intruders. Oh, yeah. You just never know.
Oh, yeah.
You could live in the safest neighborhood, and you just never know.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what else?
Said residential security we do, and then another thing that we can do is occasionally if people have kegerators or anything like that for your house, you can also bring those up to our warehouse and we can refill them for you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's like a little special added bonus.
It is.
You're like, where do I get that kegerator filled?
Exactly. Like for anything around the holidays, we get a little bit more of those.
A little busier.
Yeah.
Right. I know a couple. I actually know a law firm with a kegerator in it.
Oh, nice.
So, that's a fun place to work.
Oh, definitely.
So is there anything else that I haven't touched on that you'd like to share?
When it comes to the sprinkler systems for commercial buildings, all the other services outside of the kitchen hoods and the specialty suppression systems, which have to be done twice a year, and then your fire alarm panel, your fire extinguishers, emergency lights, those are all done annually. The sprinkler systems are the only one that varies depending on your municipality. A lot of people don't know that, so they think they can pick it done annually, semi-annual, or quarterly.
It depends on your municipality.
Yeah, those are the only ones that vary. So if you have to have a sprinkler system put in for your business, or if it's a new construction, you have to call before and see how often those have to be inspected.
And I'm sure people aren't and don't know that, or don't know how to check them.
Exactly.
They probably think once a year.
So if you're within the city of Pittsburgh, most of the time those have to be done quarterly. A lot of the business owners or property managers sometimes don't know that until somebody were to come in and do a business inspection for the building.
Yeah, so there's a lot to know out there, and you have to make sure you know your ordinances and all of the stuff coming from your municipality, and was that state or federal on the inspections of the fire hood and extinguishers?
That would be probably your NFPA or your local, whatever the local ordinance is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you're still following that.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
You have to follow both.
Great. So you're able to, the biggest thing, and I think this, is prevention.
Right.
And being prepared in case something happens. A lot of businesses, you do go through your day-to-day and you don't pay attention to that. There's so much on your plate. So I think it's very important to everybody out there to, check with him. You don't have to necessarily do business with Ryan today, but check with him so that you know when you need things updated, when you need things inspected, make sure it's running properly. In the case that something does happen, you know your plan, you know where to go, you know what to do.
Exactly. And also, it never hurts to call. You can always give us a call if anybody were to have any questions about it, because the last thing you want to do is spend a bunch of money and then have it end up being the wrong fire extinguishers,
Sure.
or you end up having the wrong type of panel put in or anything like that. It never hurts to make one extra phone call, and that way it could save you money, or if anything else were to happen, it also covers all your bases.
Yeah, especially we're getting into flood season. We're getting into all kinds of different things. So, it's never a dull moment
Exactly.
for a building owner.
And then the one thing we've actually added a couple of services over the past handful of years as well. And so we started installing AED machines, eye wash stations, first aid kits for commercial buildings as well.
That's nice.
Yeah, because we've been getting a little bit more phone calls about it lately from all different types of businesses.
That they need first aid kits and...
Yeah, or that they have and they didn't think about getting them inspected. Like, it's there, but getting it inspected. And
is that a requirement of every building?
It's a liability.
Okay.
Issue.
Yeah.
Because for anything for NFPA, I don't believe it was in there, but for liability issue, people will come out and have us inspect them monthly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So first aid kits, emergency systems, security systems, sprinkler systems. We're going to cover them all.
Yep, and AED machines.
And AED machines.
Yeah.
So just in case anybody might have a heart attack.
Right.
But that's important too.
Mm-hmm.
And you service all different buildings, all different types, so it's good to call. Just get an appointment, or like if you're a chamber member, just meet him as a member, and then you guys can maybe do some business together. Obviously, there's some different networking you're involved with. Commercial buildings, commercial real estate is important to you. So anybody in that, it's important to them to keep their buildings protected too. So it's kind of like you guys should be best friends.
Exactly.
Good. Well, thank you so much for coming on today, and we'll share more information about how you can contact Ryan, how you can get everything inspected, or just have coffee with him and get networking, which is part of our chamber mission. And we appreciate you coming on today and sharing your story.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Thanks so much for watching this episode of the Southwestern PA Business Podcast. I'm Mandy Pryor, and please come to our golf outing June 27th. It will be at Moon Golf Club. It's a Friday. Get out of work, come to the golf outing, and we'll see you soon. Thanks so much for watching. We'll be back with a new episode soon.